Which Sefer is this again?
This is the Yam Darkecha. This is teachings based on the Tzaddik and Shiur, based on the teachings of Rabbi Nachman from Breslov, based on the teachings of the Arizal, based on the teachings of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, based on the teachings of God Himself. Right? So it's good to feel like you're in a lineage, like you're in a Messiah. We're on page Pei Daled, Pidyon. It says that a person who eats from a Pidyon a ben, a Suda, a person redeems their firstborn son. It's like you fasted for 84 fast days. Pei Daled Taniyos. Okay? Lashon Pidyon, much easier than fasting for 84 days and trying to cleanse oneself that way. Is just go and eat at a Pidyon a ben mitzvah meal. Okay? You should. The tzaddikim would always try. They would darshan the page numbers. If it happens to be that you're on page Pei Daled, it means that Hashem is talking to you. So whenever you're on a certain daf, a certain page, of course the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the cave is on which page of Gemara Shabbos? What page? Shabbos, the Gemara on Shabbos. Of course it has to be Lag, Lamed Gimel. That's an obvious one, right? So when you know, sometimes Hashem just gives you clues that are just so obvious that Hashem is totally involved. Baruch Hashem. So we're on this long project together, learning about Devikus. We're really trying to take humanity from a place of just, it's a technical term, blah, and in a good, when they're doing well, to depression, anxiety, and worse when they're not doing well, and pull us up to a world of meaning, of depth, of intimacy, of feeling belongingness, feeling like I'm connected to a real purpose day in and day out, feeling like I wake up in the morning and I know where I'm going and I know what life's all about. That sort of feeling of I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. I was talking to people and they said, yeah, a lot of the people that I grew up with, they basically they go to a dead-end job, which they hate, at the mall or something, whatever, the Gap, if they're still around, I don't even know. For some company, making basically minimum wage, spending half of it on just stuff in the mall they absolutely don't need, and cappuccinos to keep them going, and the other half they spend on illicit substances and raves, and then fry themselves out enough that they can show up to work and make another paycheck, just to do the same cycle over again, and then a person wakes up not that many years later and says, what's become of me? And nowadays, by the way, people are getting paid more to not even go to work. So they're just staying at home and just frying themselves out, watching movies and just ordering in. And it's not going in a good direction. And at a certain point, people wake up and they say, what's become of me? Where am I going? Life, there's a voice inside that says life is more precious than this. So what really is humanity looking for? The answer is Devikus. What we're involved in here, Devikus. That a person feels glued to Hashem at all times, and that gets him through everything. That gets him through all the hard times, that gets him through all the challenges of life. Because I know if I am glued to Hashem, if Hashem is with me, I can get through anything. So this is what we are working on together. Could you imagine after 6 months of us, hanging out together, that a Yid feels like I'm walking with God? And when all the challenges of life throw themselves at us, that we feel solid in that place, I know God is with me, so I can get through this. That'd be amazing. That's our goal, that's our adventure, that's our mission together. And like we mentioned, there are those that have come before us that have achieved this. It's not like we're reinventing the wheel here. We're in a long lineage of great sages that have taken us under their wings to guide us where we need to go. So here we go. Look on page Pei Daled. Those who have Sefers, it's a great thing to have. Otherwise, we're going to say a few Hebrew words. And it's good to even just pick up the Hebrew words along the way. This is also going to be an opportunity for people to learn more Hebrew words. It's always a good thing to learn, because I want all of you guys to be Jewishly literate, that you could read and you could own your learning. There's nothing better than feeling like you're independent in your learning, that you could open anything, and if a person thinks that's so far away, it's not. It just takes a little bit of time and effort and you will get it. I guarantee you. Just stick with it, you will get it. Eventually you'll know all the words and you'll be reading yourself. And it's so liberating. It's so liberating. So good. It feels so good. Okay? So Perak Aleph Mahusa Devikus V'Ma'alosa. What is this thing called Devikus? Gluing, cleaving to God in a very deep way. And why is it so important? Which we've already mentioned a little bit why. Devikus. Hargashas Noichach. Devikus means I feel, God, that you're right here. That you're right here. What does Noichach mean? Anybody know? Noichach means you're right here. You're right here. When a person speaks and says, you, that means you're right here. You. When a person says, oh, him, that guy, is he close or far? Far. It's like, oh, that guy. You know that guy? Oh, yeah, him. Oh, yeah, that guy. That's far. But when a person says, you, it's like, oh, me. How do we daven when we speak to Hashem? Do we say, you know, that one? Or do we say, Baruch Atah? That's very intimate, by the way. You don't tell a king, like, hey, you king. Hey, you. Excuse me, off with your head. Say, my king. Even the Rosh Shiva, we say Rosh Shiva. You notice that? Even though it's always got like so like, yo, like, what do you say about that, you know, Rabbi, you? Okay. There's a feeling, though, like, when the Rosh Shiva's, like, oh, like the Rosh Shiva's, you don't say that to your wife, like, would my wife like, you know, a cinnamon bun when I go to the bakery? She's like, what? My wife? It's like too, like, when did we get so formal here? But God says, I want you to relate to me in a way of you. Very intimate. Baruch Atah. You, Hashem. That's the first way of understanding the Devikus, is God is not far, but He's very close to us. Yeah,
Can we say like in a third person sometimes though, that like, He is this, He is that?
We do refer to God also in the third person. Baruch Atah. Hashem is. But we mention Atah before we even say Hashem. It's interesting. Atah is like, we do refer because God has many ways that He relates to us. He's our King. He's our Father. Even your father, you say Abba, Tati. You just simply than say, hey, you. What did you say? You know, kid. Say Tati. Even there's a third person. But God says, I'm very close to you. I want you to say you. Okay? Atah is called Noichach. Devikus hi shem kloli l'kol madregas hargoshes belakus. It's a general term when we refer to any feeling of closeness to God. That a person is deeply connected to God. Aval be'emes, the truth is there's many levels of this. Many levels. How connected are you? Many levels, like the levels of a relationship. You can't say on a scale of 1 to 10, so how close are you to your wife, to your husband? It's like it's out of the world of numbers. And everybody knows that there's varying levels of relationship, varying levels of closeness, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. We hope that a person that's been married for 5 months is going to be working on that relationship. That by the time they're married for 50 years and 5 months, that they're almost infinitely closer. Because you're working. The problem is in our generation, people, it's such a fast food generation that they, disposable. So they're not willing to really work through it and go more deeper, more deeper, more deeper. When things get tough, whatever. You know. We believe you really build and work with people, going deeper and deeper and deeper into that relation. And when you go through those challenges together, the Devikus, the bond, gets very deep. You really get much closer to a person, not when you're going through the good times together, but when you go through the challenging times together. And you were there for each other, come what may, that we're in this together. Madregas and Devikus hayusoidasi yaragosha shel noichach. The main part of the Devikus is the feeling of you're right here, Hashem. The Hainish Margish es Hashem Yisborach imay, Hashem, you're with me. Umargish chiber penimi chazak itay. You're close. Ad kadei rotzen liyos echad imay. To the point that I just want to become one with you. Like I'm giving you this hug so tight. You ever have somebody that like you miss them and then you hug them, and there was a feeling of like they're crushing. There's like a crushingness. Not because they want to actually crush your bones. They actually really like you, but there's a feeling of like, I don't know how we can become. I just want to be so close to that. Like I don't know where I end and you begin, and you end and I begin. Like, so I'm the only physical expression I could do right now is just try to squeeze you so close to me. That's what we want to do with Hashem, is this hug of just, I want to be so close to you. That we become one. Zeh Devikus. This is Devikus. Hatchusha shel ha'adam shu yachad im Hashem yisborach. The feeling I'm one with you, Hashem. V'hu margish b'mitziusay v'chai yachad ita b'chibur v'kesher amak. I'm so close to you. V'adam shezoich elazeh. A person who gets this, b'madregasa gevoya harbe. He's much higher than another type of person, which we will now explain. Memisha chayrak b'kabbalas ol. Then a person who lives with Hashem on the level what's called kabbalas ol. So let's explain this for a moment. There's a way of relating to Hashem where God is the master. God is the king. Do you have to listen to the statutes of the king? You do. That's a hard institution for us to relate to nowadays, because most of the king figures are not exactly, such people to be looked up to, per se. We don't necessarily see them as great benevolent rulers. We see them as more tyrannical maniacs, power hungry, just crazy, destroy the world, threaten nuclear warfare, Hashem Yirachem, Chas v'Shalom. You don't see them as like people of God, really. So you have a hard time seeing that king figure as someone who's really this benevolent king, but you have to listen to him. God is that figure of the benevolent king, but he is a king. So let's say you have person number one, let's call him Reuven. And Reuven listens to everything the king says. The king says, you wake up early in the morning? Wake up early in the morning. The king says, say Shema before you go to bed? I'm going to say Shema before I go to bed. Put those boxes on? Yes, my king. Make sure that if you have a firstborn donkey, you redeem it? Of course, my king. No problem. Do bris milah? My king, of course. What else? Tassels? Yeah, I love those things. Of course, my king. You got it. And he goes through his day. Yes, my king. Yes, my king. Whatever you say. Get married? Of course. And he goes through those motions. Is he a righteous person?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very righteous. He's whatever the king says, he does. That's very righteous. And he holds an honorable position.
Is righteous and not tzaddik?
So really he is a tzaddik. He's a tzaddik. He's really like Noach, actually. He does what the king says. He does what the king says. Imagine you have a marriage. We use this example all the time. We just had, Baruch Hashem, so many nice Eish marriages. So I was just looking at the ksuba with the Rosh Yeshiva. So the Rosh Yeshiva told the chassan on Thursday, he's like, you know what it says in here? He's like, yeah. He said, yeah. He was like, you're you take the responsibility of everything it says in here. The ksuba is a document that basically outlines what you have to provide. I don't know if you know that. You have responsibilities. You gotta take care of this woman. All of her needs. You have to pay all of her needs. And that means new dresses. That means all her amenities, food, new sheitel if she needs, especially new clothing when it comes to the Yom Tov and the Chag. And that means matching shoes and matching tichel. Yeah. Matching jewelry, tennis bracelets. It's expensive to be a Yid. Yeah, everyone's like, oh my, I didn't know about all that stuff. Yeah, the Ksuba basically says you got 7 days to party and then get a job. That's what it says. And it says you even have to take the shirt off your back and sell it if she needs something. You know that? Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, woo, marriage, yeah, it's gonna be great. Like, there's always that rabbi with the long beard. They're like, you know what it says here, kid? you gotta really make sure that you take care of her because she is to be taken care of. So let's say 20 years into the marriage, the guy says, I gave you everything you wanted. I gave you money. I gave you a nice life. I took out the garbage. I changed the light bulbs. Like, why aren't you happy? And something's going wrong in the marriage. He's saying, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did the contract. So oftentimes, and not always these words, but very close to them, something comes out like this. When we were standing under the chuppah, I had much more in mind than just that you were going to, take care of the carpool, and you're going to make sure we had a nice house. You're a nice guy, I appreciate that, but I wanted so much more. I wanted us. I had a dream for something so much deeper than just you went through the motions of the marriage. I wanted you. So the Rebbe is saying that there's a certain type of Yid who goes through all the motions, and it's very good. He's a good guy. In fact, he's a fantastic guy that he's doing it all. But God says, I have something much deeper in mind. Why I made all of creation. And by the way, the Torah is called the Ksuba. Why I married you at Mount Sinai and I gave you this marriage document. There was something much deeper in mind. I wanted you. I want you. I don't want you to just put on your tefillin like, half asleep. Some Jewish blood pressure. Okay, yeah, I got that on. And here's the strings, the cosmic dental floss, and it's gewaldic. And okay, yeah, say the words and just go through the motion. I want you. And I want you to want me. There's a deep love relationship. Devikus is taking us from a world of I go through the motions of being a Yid to I'm now in love with God. This is like actually a class on love. That's what Devikus is. If you wonder what we're going to be doing every day at 3:30, learning about love. How to fall in love. It's a romance class. To fall in love with God.
So would it be preferable for this husband if he couldn't provide everything, but he still was like, I love you so much, I just want to be with you all the time, and like made his love known to her, even though he was like, say, couldn't pay the bills and needed her to chip in?
So if the relationship is good enough, then they're going to work together. But the guy can't say like, I love you. She's like, so go to work. No. You don't understand. I love you. It's so deep, so much deeper than that. She's like, I'm hungry. Yeah. Who needs this food? You got diapers for the kids. Like, it's very nice and all, but go to work now. So, if the love really is there, and he's trying, and he's working, so let's say 1 month he can't pay the rent. So, she gets that. She's going to stand behind him, and she's going to try to give him chizik, and she'll try to do also things to help out. right? Because they're a team, they work together. But if he's just in this like love world, and she's like, that rabbi should have told you what the marriage contract said. Maybe it wasn't clear to you, but you got to sell the shirt off your back. There needs to be food in the house. Now she can work if she wants to. There's no problem with that. But at the end of the day, who does it fall upon? Whose responsibility is it? It belongs to the man. In our generation, this is like something challenging for people to understand, that there's such a thing. A woman, yes, can go to work if she wants to. But the role of the husband is the responsibility is on him. If things aren't going well, it's on him. He has the responsibility for it. It's fine if she works. There's no problem with that. But if all things aren't going and the rent isn't going through, he doesn't tell her, you should be making more money. Go back to work, and he's trying to push her. Well, what are you doing about it? Yeah. No, go to work. You got to pull this thing off. It's on the guy. It's on the man. And there's deep reasons for that. Why in the end it's on the man. They can team up, they can do it together, they can manage the finances together, but who is it ultimately on? It's on the man. But all that considered, let's say the guy provides lots, and she makes lots, and there's lots of money in the system. But they never gave themselves to each other. They kind of hid away. They went through the motions. They were theoretically married, but they never opened up. They were never vulnerable with each other. And it means they're missing noichach, they're missing devikus in the marriage. So too with us and Hashem. Okay, you see where we're venturing into? These are new waters for certain people. Because I thought, what do you mean? To be a religious Jew, you just got to go through 613 mitzvahs and do them right, and there's a lot of details. Yeah, that's the structure of the marriage. But what is that all for? What's it for? The answer is Devikus, to have a relationship with Hashem. So we've essentially, in review, explained that what we're going to be working on is actually the purpose of everything that we're doing here. And all the mitzvahs that you're learning. And we're about to go learn tzitzis right now, an afternoon seder with our guys. All of that, why do I want to know how to put on tzitzis? Devikus. That's it. Why do I learn about tefillin? Devikus. Why do you learn afternoon seder? Brachos? Devikus. It's all to bring me to Devikus. Okay, that's the end game. We should be Zoich HaMam to Devikus and to all the mitzvahs. Amen. Have a wonderful week, Chevra.